Good morning, traders. It's time. You guys know we're back at it, live trading. I'm excited to get back to the markets. Why? Because at the end of the day, there's always opportunities. It might not be to the long side today, but we'll have to find out. Of course, the market will tell us. But there's always opportunities. And I feel like this is why you got to have tools, right? This is why we talk about Benzinga Pro news, right? Because it gets to you that fast. That can definitely help you. Charting tools, whatever it may be, scanner tools, right? You want to have tools. You guys can definitely check out Benzinga Pro for some of these tools. But if you don't have them, you feel lost at times like this, right? When we're getting a lot of changes. Maybe it's also looking at ways that you could be short on some stocks, right? That could be another tool, right? We can't just always look at things in one way. So let's find out what we get into today's action. Smash that like, hit the subscribe below. You know where you're at, live trading with Benzinga.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Those words have been dancing around my head all night. Oh, it's Vegas lore, that phrase.
All right, traders, let's get to the live trading action. I'm ready to get to it, team. You guys smash the like button out there and let me know what's your top stock that you guys are watching today on your watch list. You guys know I'm swing short. I've talked about it on Start Swing Trading, and I put out even a thumbnail yesterday. I'm still going after these oil names. You guys let me know. What do you guys think about the oil trade? Did I time it right? Did I get it wrong? Let me know. It's okay to call me out. You guys know I get called out all the time. I don't view it as a negative thing. I view it as a little bit of accountability, right? You guys keep me accountable. Let's get to the trading action. Let me bring up my screen, and Ryan's ready too, so I'm going to bring up Ryan in the back. Let's get to the action. Of course, today all on DB. It looks like credit default swaps spiking through the roof. Why are they spiking through the roof? Well, because the Credit Suisse bond traders, they got screwed, right? Let's just be honest. And that's what's causing these to spike there. 17 billion additional tier one bonds were wiped out last weekend as the Fed moved to guaranteed non-insured depositors was a moral hazard. That's what's been stated out there. It doesn't look good here for DB. It keeps falling. Credit default swaps were jumping from 173 basis points on Thursday night from 142 basis points the previous day. So we could be having some more contagion in the banking situation. Be careful. Another reason why I've clearly stated I'm staying the hell away from this banking trade. Not even coming close to it. Not even with your account, team, am I going after this. So even if you bought me shares, guess what I would do? I'd sell them right back. Because I just feel like I'm staying away from this. Can't tell my risk. Don't know what can happen overnight. And whenever I feel like I don't know what can happen overnight, there's no reason to be in the trade. Like I've talked about, the one control we have as traders is we don't have to be in the market. These money managers, a lot of them don't have a choice, right? Us as retail, we can just say, no, I'll stay on the sidelines, right? So like always, team, be careful out there. You don't need to trade every single day to be in the green. I know plenty of traders that don't trade every day and still make a ton of money, right? Like always, it's going to be up to your process approach. We'll see what happened there. Zunaid will not be with us today. Just want to give that clearly out there. He'll be back on Monday, or I think he might actually be back for an all-access interview. I'm not sure if he's doing the interview a little bit later. I got to make sure on that, but let's get to the action. Let's go to the stocks. All right, so Chevron, of course, my swing trade. I've been talking about how I was not in swing trades for 2 days. Back at it. And where am I at it? In the oil game. Haven't changed my tune on that. Was able to catch Chevron. Of course, we took some profits. Talked about the gap filling, right? Well, the gap already filled yesterday. Took some profits into that gap fill, which was around the 154.58s. I took it like at 60s right there. Now it's coming down there towards 151.66. I'm up over 4.7% on this position. Looking also at my other swing trade, XOM, that's down, was able to short this one. Look at all this resistance that I started seeing around like 107s. That's why I went after this, got 105.79s. It's down to 101.43s. I'm going to look to see if we can crack 100 today. We crack 100. We're in double digits back for ExxonMobil, and XLE looking ugly here, team. So I could also look for day trades on the drip. But as you can see, that's already gapping up. So I'm going to look for a pullback to 17 on that one. I always look for deeper pullbacks on drip, as it usually has a tendency of gapping up, pulling back, and then taking another swing. We'll see what happens in these oil trades. Also going to be looking for shorts in the industrial area, as we're starting to see this chart break down. It was holding on, holding on, holding on. Now I'm starting to see this really break. And another thing that I'm starting to see is that you can see around here, this was support. Look how we're starting to use that as resistance. That gives me another sign that we could be coming through these lows from Tuesday or Wednesday, 95.50s. We're at 95.41s on the bid, on the offer 96. But that can give me a sign that even trades like DE, Caterpillar, could be turning around to the downside. Pakar, all these trades could be turning around, as they were really strong and now starting to break. Another one that's been really strong that I'm just blown away is General Electric. But I think right here, at least I have a level to go off of, which is in the 92.50s or the 93 to risk off of. A lot of attempts to try to get through this failing. I might have to go after GE on the short. We'll find out if I'm able to take it down today. But all right, going to keep an eye out on the SPY and the tech names. Of course, those have been doing well. I have been talking about on the SPY that I want to stay bullish unless we crack through here. But I think this could happen today. So I know that I've been in that kind of more bullish camp and starting to lean that maybe tech could get us out of this if the bank uncertainty could shore up. But today's news with DB, another major bank here showing up in Europe with concerns. Now I'm really starting to get concerned about the major banks. So Bank of America, JPM, they're all a no touch for me. If anything, I'm playing to the short side with these, with maybe FAZ. But that's also a risk too, because if any of these banks get a quick spike, that could fall on you. So I'm not going to be trading these. I'll just stay away from them. I'm going to stick to areas that I feel like I have opportunities and can measure my risk. Kicking it to you, my friend. How we doing out there in the markets today?
I'm assuming you're referring to me.
Yeah.
My screen is shared here. I'm doing all right. We'll see. I mean, the markets are down here, but again, this is what I expected too, Mitch. So like you were saying earlier, this is why you're staying away from banks and all. This is not over. I've been saying this from the beginning. Even some of my friends telling me, oh, I talked to an SVP at commercial banking and it's limited to SIVB. Well, how's that senior vice president doing today?
Yeah.
How's he doing today? Someone want to do a wellness check on him, see how he's doing? Because clearly it's not over. There's obviously contagion and it's going to continue. And
yeah, I mean, governments really quickly came in Europe and said that there was nothing wrong. And we lost Credit Suisse and now we're having troubles in DB.
Sounds like they're not being 100% truthful. And the other thing about Janet Yellen's debacle over the past couple of days comes out saying that everything's going to be, or they're not looking to insure everything, and then feels the need to say the next day that they will be there. To me, that tells me that she knows that there's a bigger problem coming. She knows it, just not saying it.
She's like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. What is it going to be today, Ryan? I mean... And you know what happens, right? The old story, the old famous story, the boy that cried wolf. Eventually what happens? They stop believing in you.
Nobody believes them.
That's what's happening now, I think. That's what today to me feels like, Ryan. Even you heard me yesterday, right? I was starting to lean bullish. One thing that I've been being a little bit more on is being flexible to the story, right? Flexibility. One thing, I'm not in the trades, so that helps me. Also, if I was in one of these regional banks, I'm sure I'd be leaning more bullish in my mentality. But right now, this new development really puts concern, because I wanted to see if it was limited to one big bank. Now it's not limited to one big bank. Yeah. Now it's showing up a lot more contagion and a lot more worry. And I think the more worry is coming in now is, what will the Fed do? because they stepped in, ruined some bonds, and with that, they created more of concern of what the Fed is allowed to do, right? Are they allowed to just come in and just always backstop, bailout, right? They changed that word, and just come in and always just save everything. Well, it seems like they can, but there's always going to be somebody that bites the dust, right? In this case, the bonds got wiped out. 17 billion in bonds. That's not a small amount. And that starts to cause more and more concern, I think, in investors out there that, I mean, why be in those bonds if you could get wiped out, right?
Yeah.
Like just to be honest, right, Ryan? If you were in those bonds today, I'd probably take my money and run.
I was going to say, I'd be hitting bids to get out. The whole thing here, I mean, there is another shoe to drop. This is not over. And I don't know when it's going to happen. I mean, you tell me. If you guys know, let me know. But I don't know when it's going to happen. I remain bearish. What I really want to see in terms of the market is I want to see an oh shit day where everyone is panicking, everyone is selling whatever it is that they have. I want to see that capitulation event. That will allow me to turn bullish. Until
Ryan,
then,
I think I know when we'll see it happening is when we see not necessarily maybe another major bank, and I know that could be the issue. What I would be looking for is necessarily a hard downturn in big tech. If that happens, Katie bar the door, watch out, because the banks will tumble and the market will tumble. The only thing holding up the market right now is those tech names, big tech. If big tech turns heavily to the downside, that's where we got to be careful. And so with this one, what do I think about? Well, I think about that I can't even going into like swing trades or long-term positions in tech still doesn't even make sense for me at this point. These tech stocks are already like 20% off from the recent kind of move. I'm not jumping into stocks 20% up with the potential risk that these could come down and collapse. I'm not doing it, team. So a lot of day trading action is going to be happening with this. A lot of shorting for me is going to be happening with this, more swing trade shorts. But longs, they'll be rentals right now in my eyes. They're going to be rentals. What do I mean by rentals? Meaning that they're only day trade positions in my eyes, maybe for the momentum. But after that, I'm getting the hell out, taking my money and run. That's this type of market. Let's go to your SPY outlook. Let's go to some stocks. You guys keep dropping them up in the chat. We'll run through some of these. Ryan, let's see how you looking on the SPY. What do you think about it?
To me, it looks like we've got some more downside here. I mean, maybe because it's a Friday, maybe we don't have a whole lot of movement, but we're below the 200-day. To me, the next spot here is going to be 384 on the SPY that we should find some support. You can see that actually kind of lines up with the channel, the down channel that was all of 2022. So we'll see where we end up going. To me, seems like more down, but we've seen this market try to bounce before. The futures are trying to bounce right now. Let's see what happens when it's the opening print. I can't tell you where we're going to close today, but overall, I see us breaking this and moving more to the downside. Real quickly, I know that we open up here real fast. I want to go through some of these stocks real quick.
I'll be right back in a minute, team. I'm going to grab some OJ. 2 seconds.
All right. First one here is going to be DRMA. This is Dermata Therapeutics. This was as high as almost 260. Now it looks like we've actually found some support here and we're trying to curl back. Let's see if we get a curl on volume through this VWAP. That actually might set up for a pretty decent trade here today. Remember, all of what I'm talking about here are going to be day trades. I would take nothing home tonight. Wouldn't hold anything over the course of the weekend here. But this looks like this might be on the table. We'll take a look and see where we're at right at the opening print here. I saw someone else mention ATVI in the chat here earlier today. There's a piece of news here on Activision. Activision Blizzard shares are trading higher after the UK's CMA provisionally concluded that the anticipated acquisition by Microsoft of Activision Blizzard will not result in a substantial lessening of competition in relation to the console gaming in the UK. This is kind of what I've thought all the time on Activision. That sale is probably going to go through. That would be really bullish for ATVI. Might have the ability to trade, or might set up for a trade here today. Easy for me to say. As we've broken out of this sideways consolidation zone, let's see if we can actually trade back up towards 90. Take a look at some of the options here and see if they are liquid. And then as far as the rest of what's on here, you're seeing just a bunch of ETFs. a bunch of ETFs here. So we're basically just going to monitor the flow here today. Let's see what opportunities are presented. I'm going to be very, very picky today. I don't need to trade today. It's a Friday. Things are crazy out there. There's your bell. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what's going on here. We're going to watch DRMA right out of the open here. It's like it's moving through that VWAP right there. That happened fast. A little bit of size there at 220. Let's see if we take that out at 220. Coming back in, I got VWAP here, what, about 210, 212? Right in there. Coming back in, let's see if we actually push out of the VWAP here. If 220 falls, you might have a little bit of a scalp opportunity there. There goes 220. Up, they refresh, sold it. See if we pop above here, 220 on Drama. Drama. What a ticker. Drama. Someone, is there some news? Can you be more specific? What are you asking about the news on? Are you asking about Drama? There it goes. All right, so now we are pushing away from that. We're taking size blocks here at 225. This looks pretty good, actually. 225 refresh seller there that they keep hitting. Volume looking good here. They brought in a bid at 222. This looks higher here, folks. 220 break there. Pretty good. Already got 10 cents. Let's keep going here. Let's see where our next levels are going to be. 220. We're at 230. I think probably 240 and then 260 here from that 220 break. Let's see if we coming back in now. Let's see if we can actually hold and push. If we can get above 230, I think we're probably pretty good. Seeing lots of puts on Citigroup right here. They're small in terms of total outlay, but there are lots of them on Citigroup. Take a look at that here in a sec. Let's see if Drama can get above 230 here. Another nice opening move there on Netflix. Here's 230. It's gone. All right, here we go. And they refreshed it again. See if they take it out one more time here. Yep, more stock for sale there at 230. They're trying to hit it. Let's see if they take it out again. There it goes. All right, we're going higher here. 240. Say you could trim and trail on this one. Nice little win right out of the gate. Let's get up to 240 right there. Come on. Come on, one more push to 240. Think that if you hit this 240 here, you can exit partial position and looking for a 260 break. Might be able to hold a little trailer there on a pop. Come on, one more push. One more push. And if you're in, I would raise your stops here as well, just to make sure you walk away with some money in your pocket instead of taking a giant knife back. Mitch, do you have a newspaper? Oh, okay. For a sec, I thought you said you were going to get orange juice. I thought you came back with an old school newspaper. I was like, what?
Trying to clear the desk here. Of course, lovely Hendrix wants to come join the party. One is going down that I wanted to look for shorts already starting to cut is Signet Jewelers team. So why do I want to short Signet Jewelers? All luxury goods going down yesterday. Movado came out with earnings. They got crushed even with decent earnings. So I'm already seeing that down from 72 to 70 already, just out the gate, just like bam. So Signet Jewelers, yeah, this could be a nice little I don't think I can come after it with commons. I'd have to come for the puts. But hey, just putting it out there, the idea, right? I'm not going to be able to probably take this. You guys know it. I rarely take puts and options trades, but it looked to me like a good daily setup. Look at this little daily setup. You break this trend line. I think there's a big gap down below too to fill. I've been looking for gap down fills team. I'm looking for them like XOM. That's why I grabbed it yesterday, right? It was a gap down fill. It could bounce today. We'll see what happens. All right.
There was someone remind me when the wedding season or whatever ends. I think one of the plays on Signet is that there's like a wedding season and that factors into Signet's performance. Yeah. I can't remember exactly when those dates were. That was a discussion we had in happy hour. Shame on me for not remembering. By the way, Drama, they brought in a bid there at 235. Here's going to be your 240 push. Come on, 240. Bang, little bit of size there at 240. They're taking it. We take this out, we're likely going to pop. I would say 260's on, but make sure that you have gains booked here on this 240 cross that we're about to get. There it is. All right. Book some of those gains. Nice little win out of the gate here, Mitch. Mitch, you need to start going for orange juice right around the opening print more often so that we can get some wins in here.
Hey, if that brings you luck, my friend, I'd go get orange juice every 9:30.
Sal says the wedding season never ends. Yeah, I could see that one too. All right, so on drama here, I do think
drama. You bringing some drama?
Hey man, it's Friday. You thought you were going to get out of here with no drama? Nope. Dermata Therapeutics telling you that is not correct. So, by the way, so nice little win here in the 220 break. I do think 260 is likely in play. So if you want to hold a trailer and see if you can get that pop, go ahead. Make sure that you have gains in your pocket already, and then make sure you don't let the trade go red on you. So if you want to hold this for a longer bit of time with your last piece, I would put your stop at break even or even higher than break even to make sure you book those gains. 240 up here again with more size. So they're going to take it. Couldn't quite get it all, but they really hit that block. 270,000 shares traded at 240 already here today.
All right, XLM's now starting to do this like kind of little move to 102. I want to see if it rejects here in the 102s. Anything above 102.50s, I will just take some profit just to be careful on XOM, right, to pay myself. But looking to see if XOM rejects 102 and looking for oils to go green to red. And that's one play I could use for drip.
Drama coming back here off that 240 spot. Still don't think that's the last test of 240. Real strong here. Good volume on drama early.
All right, you guys keep throwing up stocks in the chat. I'll take a look, team. You guys know I'm looking around more today than just taking trades, right? So with that being said, if you guys got anyone, throw it up in the chat. Too much sugar in orange juice? I mean, I just drink straight up orange juice. If you guys, there's such thing as good sugars, right? I mean, I know a lot of people don't believe that, but there is. You got no carbohydrates, you got no sugar. Where do you expect to make energy?
I can't. Here we go. I can't wait for Mitch to just start cutting loose with the health stuff here today.
Dude, I ate a bunch of pasta, man, before I do things. You just got to be able to burn the calories, burn the sugars, right? Can't be sitting on the couch and then taking all the sugars. That's what happens a lot of the times.
If you don't burn that sugar, doesn't it turn to fat?
That's the difference. That's the difference there. Hey, Hendrix, I know you're trying to tell everybody about their health too, but you gotta wait, buddy.
Hendrix is like, more fish, good for you. All right, so real quick, drama coming back in towards its VWAP. I got its VWAP here at what, 216 on TradingView. My broker actually has it a little bit higher here, so interesting. But coming back in a little bit here, we'll wait for this to set up. If this holds here and then another push through 240, maybe a second potential play there on drama. My scanner is deader than dead. I don't really see. Oh, it's just as I say that, ETNB coming back on. Did you see ETNB yesterday, Mitch?
Oh, I'm avoiding that stock like the plague. It didn't get me right the first time.
So here, this right here, March 22nd, this is the day we first talked about it. We really couldn't get above that 1547. Now it did come back in and it held the 1375. The very next day, it tried to trade up a little bit, came back in to test that level, said, okay, we'll hold this level, and then boom, absolutely huge bounce here right through the 1547 level and then topped out right around 17. I have it marked as 1705. That again was from the pre-market on March 22nd. Topped out there. Now today it looks like we're taking the next leg up here. Let me go ahead and add some charting lines to this. Bang.
Success looking interesting here, team. I'm gonna look to see if we do an 18 run right now. I'm looking for a pullback to VWAP, but I might have to chase it here, team. Looks like it wants to get through 18. I'm looking for a pullback to 1775, but I did see some tech names starting to come down, so I'm looking at Success here, team, for the 18 push.
I've been so focused, I didn't even look at some of those. We did look at Netflix earlier. Netflix strong out of the gate here. That's the second day this week that it's been really strong out of the open.
So it just held that kind of like 1784, the pre-market like 615 resistance. And so that's why I feel like we might not even get this pullback to VWAP. I would love to get it, but if we break through 18 here, we might not never even come back there. So I didn't grab it right now in the 92, 93. So that's probably where I would have grabbed it if I wanted to go for the 18 break here. I'm not going to go for it right now because I feel like I'm just chasing. I don't like to buy at the highs. You guys know I very rarely do it. So we'll see what happens if I can get a little bit of a pullback action in success. But it looks like it's trying to get through 18. Of course, guys, take that with a little bit of grain of salt. We'll see what happens. JPM sold Meta. JPM, is it going down here? Yes, going down there. So FAZ is one that maybe you're looking at. That's financial bear. Maybe it recovers VWAP and gives you that nice little lift. I'm not going to trade that one, but just kind of giving you guys ideas, right? XOM did try to do that 102 move, now starting to turn around. So I could look at drip here for the play off of the 1750s. I still want it to kind of come to 1720s, but I might be a little bit picky there. I'm going to leave drip alone right now. If it could come back to that level, I set an alert here, which was yesterday's kind of range in between 1730s, 1720s is where I'd like to take drip if we could get to pullback. All right, let's keep it going, team. What else is being out there? AMZ. I'm getting there, Sydney. I think it's just a little bit under 5 feet, but we'll get there.
That's insane, dude. Those are some crazy hops, man. I don't think I've ever been able to jump that high.
All right, Amazon going down. That's one that I could look at for shorts. Apple, how's that doing? That's starting to get down there. Microsoft starting to go lower. So Success could be taking off through that 18, and boom, there's the 18 to 1807s. Wouldn't have been a bad approach from 1790s, but you guys know I don't like buying on the top of the range. It never gave me the VWAP bounce type of strategy. So this is one of those where it's like I felt the momentum, but I don't trade those kind of scalp type of trades. So more disciplined to not go to stick to my process, right? Not go to someone else's process, which is scalping that towards the 18s. Like I know that probably a lot of people scalped from 1790s into the 18s here and are taking profits into this first little push. So I'll look to see if we get some pullback. Also, we can just look at tech names short, right? NVIDIA, AMD, they're all getting hit today. These are my concern. If we really see these techs getting pounded, SPY is going to get crushed today.
This is our concern, dude. Big Lebowski, great movie for those of you who haven't seen it. By the way,
that's a good one.
SPY looking like it's going to roll over here and break to the lows. I was watching ATVI. Got mentioned in the chat here. Joe saying long ATVI. This does look good, right? This is some good news. It does look like maybe it wants to break out of this formation and trade up. Let me hide this menu. And my only concern here is the SPY looking to test 390 to the downside, probably going to break beneath that. Looking at Activision here, not a whole lot of volume in the April contract and a huge spread on some of these. See if any of these weeklies are getting bought. Not a whole lot of volume out there.
Yeah, it looks like some red out there, team. Be careful in those tech names. Let's go to the sector outlook. You guys know I always like to do it. The only thing green today, probably not what you want to see green, defensives. Everything else in the red. What's on the downside? Technology and consumer cyclical. That shows us ugly downturn there, especially in the consumer cyclicals. This is where we could really start seeing some damage. I talked about department stores this morning on pre-market prep. Would we see more hit in these stocks? Look at Macy's. Look at JWN. Look at even Dillard's down today. Even Dillard's is starting to get hit. Man, a little part of me is like, man, I should have just shorted that thing. But I'm not touching that stock.
Drama looking like it's going to test 240 again. Let me bring it up here. And really quick, Rick Wamps, I was talking about The Big Lebowski. That was the movie that I was.
Yeah, that's a good one.
This is our concern, dude.
Yeah, man. If you haven't watched that movie before, I don't know what you're missing, man.
It's so good.
Yeah, no, that's a great one, man. Looking around to see what else is like kind of making moves, right? Those industrials, are those getting hit like Deere? Let's take a look. Deere taking a hit right now. Those are down and going lower. Caterpillar, Pakar, Ooh, Picard, come back to VWAP. Come back to 69.20s for me. Looking around to see, what about GE? Oh, this one, I'm feeling it. I'm itching for the GE. I wanted to make a run to 91. It kind of got close there, 90, 96. So I like the risk off of 91 right now. I'm going to do a swing here. Already dropping fast there. Let me see if I can get 70s here.
That rug really tied the room together. And that dude peed on it. Sorry.
Hendrick said he'll
might
do
have
it.
to throw that one on tonight here. might have to watch that one tonight. Pretty good. Pretty good bounce here on SPY, by the way, right off that 390 handle. Bounced about 70 cents here. We'll see if we can keep that strength. Still feels a little bit weak, but we'll see where the bounce actually goes. This aggression will not stand. I love it. I love
Got
you
it.
guys are hitting it.
90.74 GE. 90.74 GE, short side on the GE. Taking a shot there on a stock that's been so bullish, but just got to be careful. Not going to let it go, let's say, back to 92.50 today. Anything above 91.20s will get me out today on GE. Got to keep it tight at first. Look for that swing down. Then I can take some profits, but can be break even and don't have to worry about the risk anymore. We'll see what happens. General Electric. All out of ATVI, nice long trade. There you go. Not bad, my friend. Yeah, that one did make a nice move. Of course, it looks like European regulators talking about how they would allow it through. Of course, we got to look for U.S. regulators, but what is this more? An arbitrage style trade, right? This deal's supposed to go through as I'm thinking at 95 or 94, I think it was the price. But one thing that's for sure, when this was starting to cut through the 78, the last time, everyone started talking about the arbitrage style trade. So I do think there's a lot of those in between this box. So as you start to see it, what did you see after that? It started to bunch up here in the 80s. So for me, as long as it holds 80, ATVI doesn't look too bad now as it continues to push. It could do pullbacks, but nice little day there for Activision as that's pushing higher. And if that's pushing higher, keep an eye on like EA. Maybe that could get a lift too. You see how this is starting to come back to try to fill this gap? Can it fill this gap? This is a monstrous gap to fill. But just keep an eye out on that play.
SPY below 390 now, so it tried to bounce a couple of times and broke. Also watching drama here. One thing to note, guys, on drama, we had that the first move here real strong, much easier to hit. These next move, there might be another one, but look what happened. Right when it took out 240, we got a big knife, and we knifed right back down to about 230. Actually overshot it by a penny. Now here we are kind of flirting with this level. There is a bid at 231 right under. Let's see if we can get a little push off this. If it comes back in more towards the VWAP, that wouldn't be bad either. And actually, my VWAP and my broker is a little bit higher here, so might bounce from right around this area, 225 to 227, I would say. Yeah, my VWAP here is 224, so 224 to 227 might be another potential bounce here. The better plays on drama, unless the volume really expands again, better plays on drama might be off some of those curls. Just make sure you keep your stops tight. And if you traded this off the first move, don't give your gains back. Don't try to be a hero. There will be more opportunities later.
Well, I'm sorry, team. It looks like at least starting off the day to the dark side. The dark side. Well, definitely seeing that action. There's success now to 1820s. We'll look to see if that can continue driving higher. I'm looking for pullbacks, but we talked about it. It could just run through the 18, not look back. What is the big tech doing? Microsoft, pretty heavy here. Apple, those are the ones that I'd keep watch. If those rip back upwards, that can give us an opportunity in success. But just going to keep watch to see if those go lower. Look at the SPY, now going lower here. 389.60s. Can we just continue to crack? Where's the sign of concern? Pre-market lows towards 389.33s. We're at 389.43s right now, almost looking like we're about to break that. I'll put a line there here so that we can keep a watch on it. We're just a little bit above this line. If we break that, be careful. We could see some more downside action.
Mitch wants you to come to the dark side.
The dark side. Execute order 66.
I saw that meme floating around yesterday on Twitter. Execute order 66. That was all over the
Order
place.
66.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, fun stuff.
Oh, what can I say? What can I say? Today is one of those days
It's a
where,
Friday.
hey, you better get that smooth jazz going because I'm ready for these trades. Let's get it, team. Honestly, I could just keep that on loop, but I won't do it to you guys. We'll see what else is going on out there. Now we're seeing a little bit of bounce back here. Definitely getting after it. Let's go to the XOM, the oil trade. Look what I was looking for, right? So 102 rejection. And I thought that we would maybe get a little peak above 102s, right? We did 102.15s, but now we're getting hit right back to the downside on these oil names. So drip going a little bit higher. Someone was talking about Slumber J. That still looks like an opportunity for me to kind of get short on it. But hey, you guys can see how this pattern has broken. I actually like this company for the beginning of the year before we started the year. And look what's happened since. And that can happen, team. And you got to be able to admit it too. I like this one at January 3rd. Now, no. Don't like it no more. SLB doesn't look good. Remember, Ryan, I was talking about it positively. The Slumber J.
Yeah, you were calling it
Slumburger.
Slumburger, and it was making me laugh hysterically.
The Slumburger. But guess what? You got to be flexible. I think this one's broken now. But that might be because I'm short oil names, right? Looking to see if the XLE could break through on Thursday low, 75.36. Let's go to the hourly chart. You guys can see, where are we? Just hanging out? Just slightly above that. I'm looking to see if we get another takedown in the XLE. SPY overall, I think we got a little bit of a bounce there. Yeah, look where we went to. We went to 40s. We didn't hit the 33s, bouncing a little bit. Let's see if we chop to the top of the range, 392s. That's where I could see maybe tech getting a little bit of a push. But if we just reject VWAP, can't get above it, that's also a concern there, right? VWAP for me, at least 5 minute, is 390.78. All right, looking around, GE getting a little bit of a bounce after that first downside action towards the 90.40s. Could add here, but just going to keep it simple, right? Not going to be adding for no reason here. Looking for another rejection of 91s or 90.90s, and then cutting through the $90 price point. XOM now up about 4.5%. As I get to 5%, I'm going to take majority of it out on ExxonMobil. And we've been killing it on the oil trade. So for me, it's all about taking gains, right? Especially when I can get them.
Sorry, Mitch, just handling a really quick issue here.
You're good. I'm still doing the trading action. You can just kind of hang out. There's
almost
no stress.
done.
There's no stress. That's how it is, man.
Not
SQ
on a
trying to come
Friday.
back
Come
up.
on, no.
Yeah, it's Friday, man. We'll see if this can get a little bit higher towards 62. That's where I think Square could actually move, but it's just kind of giving these wicks to the upside. No body closing above the VWAP yet, so that's what I would be looking at. But to each his own, right? You guys make your choices. GDX, JNUG, how is the gold trade? Pulling back at least on GLD. Yeah, it looks like we're getting a little pullback on that gold trade. SPY now back towards the VWAP. Let's see what happens to these big tech names. You see Apple tried to spike to 159 here. I've talked about 157 being an area that I'm looking for Apple to get to. It still hasn't even got there. So, I mean, I think we've been in the 157s, but not like actually 157 on the dot. So that's what I'm looking at. NVIDIA, how's that one? Because that one's been such a leader, right? Ooh, double, triple top around here. That's interesting. If we can get back to 270s today, NVIDIA looks good for sure.
Big bounce in the SPY.
Ooh, I'm excited if it can come back to 270s. If NVIDIA can come back to 270s, I can have a clear out risk on like resistance right above. So might be even able to short NVIDIA today. We need a bounce towards 270s. I'm not even going to do the VWAP there. I need it to get closer towards that 270. SPY overall probably still bouncing here. Yeah, still bouncing a little bit. Let's go to the sector outlook here. Let's see what's going on. Utilities getting into the green. So that's a complete flip. That was really red yesterday, was not looking that good. Now you're getting the flip in the utility names. So you can look for like Duke getting a nice little uplift there. XLU.
that they're big volume there too on XLU, having a nice move.
Yeah, so that's a nice little one. So we could look for pullbacks now. I'd look for pullbacks on some of these names. There's like Nextera, NEE, VWAP pullback to 74. I like that, right? And so now that you got this like break, at least I'm looking for pullbacks to this trend line. I can already visually see it, so that's why I'm looking at this level here. So any pullbacks into this range looks good for me. Like always, you guys choose your own levels, but utility is getting a nice little uplift here.
Yeah, and you guys that are mentioning, I know several of you have mentioned AI, ticker AI here. Sorry about the delay here. It's actually a lot going on. One of the things I think you saw here is the break of yesterday's intraday high here on AI. Take a look at the 15-minute chart. This actually looks pretty good. Pretty good. Getting back to where we were at before. Let's take a look at the daily chart and see if we can figure out what levels might be in play next here on ticker AI.
In the dark.
What happened?
No, I just turned off one of my lights.
Oh no, I'm saying to my chart here.
Hendrick's trying to take a nap, so I'm trying to be nice for him. ETNB, how's that one doing today? Ooh, getting hit. It's on the pullback level, 1650s. I think needs to hold 1640s for a reversal. I went right to it right now, but we'll see if it comes back up towards VWAP.
Okay, I don't know what that little snafu was there. Here's the one thing to watch, though. This 2609. I think that if we can continue some of this upward momentum, especially if we continue to get this volume to ramp, maybe we'll trade up to that 28.5 level and then pop above here on AI.
Ooh. That chart actually doesn't look bad at all.
No, it doesn't. That's what I'm saying. Daily looks good. It's a good shout by our group here. I was not on this one. Good stuff, folks.
Becca always bringing some fire too. Sober looking great right now on the daily chart and getting a little lift. A $2 stock, right? Little cheap name, but nice little lift through. Kind of that 225 today, working its way to 250. We'll see if it keeps working up.
Actually, this is a pretty nice looking chart too. I think she was asking if you had anything else in that glass with the orange juice.
It's Friday, isn't it?
Yes, sir. This is what I'm looking at on Sober, right? This is a nice little uptrend here. I would say if this breaks, that probably goes away. Let's see if we can actually move back up here. 316 your high. Take a look at the intraday chart here.
All right, GE is pushing here. Might get out of GE in just a second here through the 9150s. Want to see if we reject that 9150s. If not, I can get in this name later today. One of the skills that I've been working on is getting out of trades and being willing to get back into them. I've been able to nail that with XOM. Yesterday, you guys saw me. I actually took a swing trade on XOM, got stopped out of it. Because the risk was a little bit too high on where it was going, and got back into the name, took profits in the intraday action that, put that back to break even. And that's what it's all about. Sometimes you got to be willing to be able to get back in the trades. At least for me, it's a weakness that I'm trying to work on.
And real quick here, we just talked about drama, talked about being careful with some of these upside breaks and maybe trying to take them off the curl instead. Look what happened. We got another one here where drama actually broke the high. Again, we got that range break to the high. Excuse me, range break of the high, and immediately got yanked back down. So here we are back down at this 230 level. You can see VWAP coming up here. Again, got to be careful here because the big momentum move was out of the open. The rest of these moves, if you can continue to trade the same stock, I think we're going to need to wait for these to curl.
I'm looking for a pullback on success into the low 70s here to start a starter.
Look, I got the small cap bullish levered ETF on here. This one, don't feel good about that. Let me show you one of the things that I'm looking at here in the IWM. We take a look at the IWM here. We're kind of in trouble. This level right here, we break these October lows. I got these at, well, let's see, 162.5 thereabouts. Looks like this is going to come in some more here. IWM has been really, really weak. Really haven't had much gains to speak of. And if you look more to the left, we're actually right at that COVID high. So if you take a look at SPY, we're not even, the SPY is much higher than the pre-COVID high. IWM right at it. A break beneath here. If we lose these October lows, not good for the IWM. BBAI showing up on the relative volume scanner, another name from the AI space after the nice move here by AI.
No fill in stocks S yet. Looking for another little pullback to get filled on like a quick little wick to the 70s. There we go. Starter set. Starter there. Got 1776 there for the starter on SOXS.
Let me put your charts up here. I was looking around.
All right, looking to see if I can have pullbacks to add here. Don't want to add too much above VWAP. So the levels to play with here for me are towards that 1770. And so I want to see if I could get another entry below my entry right now, which is 76. I have an order sitting there at 69, just in case we get a quick little pullback fill here. And then just start to like kind of work in the position. A lot of this is at like a fifth of my sizing where I think I'm going to get to, where a full potential fill would be, right? And so what this helps me is that I don't feel too nervous about taking this first entry, right? Because it's such a thin amount of my full position size that even if this were just a tank here, I'm not going to be too mad about the entry. And so that's what it's all about, I think, and why I go at it at fifths versus how a lot of traders go at it, where they go full size in on their first entry. Google puts and calls both in the green. Talk about the crazy market. Yeah, that is a crazy market type of a move there. If you got puts and calls into the green, that just shows you how much volatility is out there. Going to look for this one more push towards the 70s, and then I can start to add on SOXS. It's looking like we wanted to start bottoming here on 775. That was my original target. So now that we're starting to get back into the 90s, once we get in the 90s, I'll look for pullbacks in the 80s to start adding. And so a lot of these times what I do is I let the spike happen, and then I look for the pullback. I'll put orders out below that, not where it is on the offer, because if I do that, then I instantly get filled, the pullback happens, and I'm like, oh man, I just ruined my average. So looking for pullbacks after we get breaks, but right now, just staying patient. Patience is what has been paying me.
For all of you that are interested in video games, I am installing the Diablo 4 beta, which starts today. Open beta starts today, 9 a.m. Pacific time. So we're going to pre-download that and then go ahead and give that a shot here. That's a blast. Mitch, I can't tell you how many hours I lost during my childhood playing the Diablo franchise. So excited to see this one.
Yeah, it was definitely an epic franchise. That's for sure.
Drama.
I didn't have PlayStation early on in my days, so I didn't get the chance to play it too much.
Yeah, no, I get you. Drama did get stuffed. I like that. Whoever said that earlier, who was that? I'm going to credit you because I like that. I'm going to use that. It was Ollie Johnson. Drama stuffed over 245. That's exactly what happened here. We actually broke beneath the VWAP as well on Drama. So we'll see if this sets up again. But no, Hawaii Rye asking, have I played Hogwarts Legacy yet? No, I haven't. Looks awesome though.
That's what I'm talking about. Now that's something you can get me on.
Dude, I'm a little Skyrim, secret Hogwarts Harry fan. Potter universe. It's supposed to be amazing. I've watched a couple of streamers play it. They're always having a great time.
I'll tell you right now, man, you get me on there, the wife's gonna lose me. She's gonna get mad.
Oh, happy wife, happy life. Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, I got baseball stuff to worry about. But yeah, that actually looks pretty dope. I gotta admit, I'm a little secret Harry Potter fan.
No shame.
No shame, right? I mean, that was
We
the
like
age
what we
that I
like.
grew up.
We like SI. Wow, Silvergate Capital.
And we're not talking the movies. Let's just be clear. We're not talking the movies.
Yeah.
I know there's some people that are like, I'm a Harry Potter fan. And I'm like, yo, so what's your favorite book? They're like, movie 3. Like,
So what's your favorite movie 3? Oh, Mitch, that's funny. That's funny.
And then you tell them like, what's the title called? The third one, right?
Let's go,
shout out.
Sal. Love seeing that. Let's go.
Appreciate the love, Sal. That's what it's all about, man.
Appreciate your account being green too. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I think we do really good, and it's not to toot our own horn, but we do really good at not trying to make this sound really well, at not trying to make this sound like it's just easy, right? I think that that's one thing that you'll clearly hear from this stream. Bro, there's so many other streams.
We struggle all the time. We go through real struggles. Some days we don't take trades. Some days we take losses. We got Zune joking about I mean, it's just, that's how trading goes. Like you can't win every trade. You just can't.
Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth, team. And that's where it gets a little bit more difficult in understanding that it's not going to be just one way, right? So Success, what did it do right now? And just to get it in full disclosure right there, 78's just filled on pullbacks, right? What did I look for? The 90 spike, looking for pullbacks. That's what I just did. So that's how I go about it. And now I have 2 entries, right? Now I still have that other entry at the 69 for the support try, which is 1771s. That's okay. And even if I were to get filled there, I'm going to be somewhere between like 76 on average. So I won't be too mad about getting filled there either, right? So I'm just trying to work into the position slowly, because a lot of the times what happens, my timing is off by minutes. And so I want to slowly get into the name. Of course, you guys take the approach and how you guys want to go about it, but I hope you guys can learn from the way that I take my process approach. All right. Why can't you win every trade? Yeah, I wish it could be true, right? I don't believe anybody that says they've won 100% of the time. I mean, that would be something else. All right, now back through the VWAP is where I want to start adding on winning positions. So what do I mean by that? So you see how all these bodies are closing down here? Now we're going to look to see if some body can close into this space, into the 1790s, right? Because then that will show us a little bit of a trend turn back to the upside. So that's what I'm looking for now. And you can see there's a lot of wicks. Wicks can be tricks, right? So looking for body closing above 86, 1786. Let's go back to the overall market. Let's talk about other trades too, not just mine. SPY is trying to come back through 391.94s. Really, I'm looking to see if we get to 392.50s on a 5-minute. You see a lot of wicks here through the 392s. Can we even close in above 392s? That's what I'd be looking at. Utility names pulling back.
On your SOX S here, I mean, I know it's going to depend a lot on what some of these other stocks do, but on the SOX S trade, it actually looks like this kind of wants to turn back up after we break out of this consolidation zone. So we'll see if we end up getting that here. There it goes. Literally just popped out of that as I said that. Hilarious.
That's how it happens sometimes.
Hilarious. Guys. That wouldn't have even, I wouldn't have even been fast enough to grab that. No position on that. Oh my God. And here it goes.
I wasn't even watching it, team.
It happened so fast. Like I literally couldn't have moved. Even if I was ready, I don't think I could have moved my mouse to the buy button fast enough.
All right. So now what do? I pull back to add on VWAP. So I'm looking at what? 1790s on pullbacks to add. I can cancel that earlier ad that I wanted at 69 and kind of move it up. So I'm going to put 1789s to add on pullback. I put out there 91s. We'll see if we get the pullback or not. But it's already pushing. And where was my entry? 1777 is my average right now. So now I can look for that real drive back to 1820s. Sell some there and then look for the rip. We'll see if we get it. And with this, I want to see what? The SQQs ripping. I want to see some tech names starting to break. Look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is actually breaking. Didn't get to my 270. So I didn't touch it, but it is starting to pull back down. Apple, That's one thing that I would be looking at, because of course, a lot of times I just look at Apple, right? Well, what's going to happen here? Look at this triple top around the 159.40 mark. If we get back to 159.50, yeah, I think you could push a little bit higher in Apple. But if it rejects here, comes back towards 158, that's what we're going to be looking for, kind of showing us the signals of breakdown where you see these wicks on the downside. Sorry, I didn't even have my chart up there. I'm sorry about that, team. Apple around this 158. You can see the wicks around 159.40s here on the 5-minute. Will we come back down and break that 158? That's what I'm looking at. Google's been really strong, right? Oh, and the GE got stopped out, team. I didn't even mention that a little while ago. The reason why I didn't notice it is because I had to stop. So I didn't even want to look at it. And where did it wick me? It wicked me just by a little bit. I had 91.50s out. These bodies are closing at 91.60s. So it could have been about 10 cents that I'm missing that GE. I can always get back into the name. What I can't do is just hold the name and get a big loss on the day, right? Keep the losses small for me. Keep rolling, base hits. And then one of these base hits adds up to like a nice home run.
Yep.
And that's what I've been looking for, right? Like XOM, I'll just keep trying to battle it, right? Chevron, we've already taken a lot of gains in oil, so we can keep trying to play this. We'll see what happens today. There's Apple starting to go a little lower, looking for that SOX S move to start getting a little bit higher here towards the 1820s.
Webcoin, sorry, I don't have the squawk playing here today. Didn't catch it. Let me see if I can find it for you, though.
SI news not confirmed, but we're moving.
Shares moving higher on rumors suggesting a crypto exchange is trying to buy Silvergate's trade processing technologies.
That actually might be a trade there. Of course, you got to be careful. I would look for pullbacks underneath 150s, but that's just because I don't like buying off of highs, right? Talk about this all the time. I look for pullback entries. I don't like to buy off of strength. Doesn't seem to work for me. So I'm looking for pullbacks into the 145 range, 150, if I wanted to take that style of trade. Bada bing, bada bang. Got that entry, baby. Let's go. Moving my average up towards 1782 on that pullback for SOX S. Got it filled at the 1791s. Pullback fill. Let's go to it. Now let's see if we can get back into the 18s. And really, we got to shift our risk assessment. It can't be towards the bottom here, but we're in at 82. So look at this. This is not looking too bad. Average is right around the 80s. The lows are the 75s. Let's see if this can push. There's SI pushing a little bit higher. Looks like I'd miss out on that trade. Didn't go to the 150s, now towards the 170s. Let's see if it takes off. SPY overall, how's that looking? I want to keep an eye on it, right? Because the move through 392 is the scare where you could get the bullish upside action. So I'm keeping an eye on it, right? That's going to be the 392 move with a 5-minute closing above that 392, not just the wick. So I'll see if that happens there. You can see the chart in the middle here.
Right. Hawaii ride. No, I don't really mess with the spreads. I've taken a few butterflies. I've taken a few vertical and calendar spreads, but for the most part, no. If I feel good enough to use options, I like to just use the calls or puts to maximize the gain as opposed to using a spread that limits the upside. I understand that when you do that, you are kind of lowering the risk. But again, it goes back to my initial trading plan. If I feel really good and confident about what I'm doing, why would I want to limit my upside? I use risk management to keep myself safe and try to maximize the gains that I have. It's not necessarily a right or a wrong answer. It's just how I've dealt with it, how I've traded, what I'm comfortable with. I would like to get involved in some more spreads, but I don't, at least, and not right now. Maybe on the next bull run up, we'll take a look at that. Expand the toolbox as always.
About a penny or two in the red here on SOX S as you see the SPY get towards the 392s. Let's see if we close this 5-minute above. We've got about a minute left on the 5-minute candle. Apple's trying to get through those wicks there, right? That's when we can get stopped out if we start getting this drive. So there you guys see the SPY driving. I want to see if this is going to be a wick trick. What do I mean by that? where it looks like it's driving higher through the 392s and then just puts a big wick, body closing below 392. We'll see what happens here. All right, so I've gotten about 3 of my entries on Success, right? So I could still add, I could still have like 2 more, but I'm going to be watching what happens here on the overall market. I think that's what's more important to me right now. ETMB, Joe Dagger, I think you've been all over it. Hey, if it pops, it pops. I can put it up on one of these charts, but I'm just looking at the bigger boys to determine what's going on in the overall market. How are the banks doing? That's one thing that I wanted to take a look at. You see how this is a wick trick here? And this is what I was looking to see if we'd get it. What do I mean by a wick trick? Look how it wicked through that 392. Now the body closed at 391.77. So this is why I call wicks are tricks. And tricks are for kids. They say it out there. And they ain't playing with you. But there it comes right back down. And that's where it could be a little bit tricky, right? It's very hard to stay in through wicks. I can tell you. The only thing that's helped me with this is experience. It's not necessarily that, I automatically assume that it's going to come back. No, it's just literally experience, and that you can get a lot of the times these fake little wicks to the upside. Now I could add here on Success, but I feel like I start losing my average when I add here. So I'm just keeping it to the simple trade here and just looking for the shares that I have.
All right. Sorry about that, Mitch.
Did you see the wicks are tricks and tricks are for kids, man? Look at that wick on the SPY 5-minute. That one's a tricker. We'll see if it actually comes down. It's back to VWAP as it just tried to do a top of the range breakout and then just comes right back to VWAP. You see how that could be a little tricky? That's how you get a lot of bulls trapped. I'm not saying that this is a bull trap, but very easy way to get it is by doing an up move to the top of the range and then smacking back down to the VWAP. Stocks and market analysis with Ray. I'll have to check out your channel, my friend, but thanks for the tip. Thanks for the compliment. AI plus 6%. Boom. Banks look like AMC. Bank of America is the new meme stock. Paul, I've actually been talking about this. I actually compare the people that are taking the trades in banks as the traders that traded GME and AMC. To me, they're not much difference in those trades. You know how many people were calling that they wanted to get into regional banks on all the medias? I'll tell you right now, there was one guy, this guy here for sure, that was like, no, 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 not touching him.
Makes 2 of us, Mitch. I've been weary of the banks for anything longer than a 5-minute scalp.
We both have. The only thing I really took of the banks was Morgan Stanley short on that Thursday early on into banking, and I made 11% on that. So, and I ran for the money, right? Also, I could have still been in the name, but I took that money and run. This is that type of market, team. We'll see if we can get the SPY to come right back up through that 392. It wicked through the VWAP now. Let's see what happens. Look at Apple is trying to put in a hard candle. What did Apple do? Wicks are tricks, my friend. It went right through that wicks, the intraday high, and then right back to VWAP. It's tough, team. It's tough to deal with things like that. We'll see what happens. I agree with you, Walter. Too toxic either direction. My famous quote, and I'm going to call it the Mitch's famous quote because I don't honestly hear anybody else mention this, but I say it all the time. I try not to let one trade break me or make me, right? It could make me, but I'm not going to let that one trade do either or of those results. That's where I feel a lot of traders have a tendency of leaning towards that I just can't do anymore. Like I try to respect my discipline in those trades and avoid them at all cost. Bug said, I made a 33% profit on NCYB. Shout out to you, Bug. If you can do it, then maybe others can. But I'm just saying, at least from my perspective, I don't think it's a reward worth having. Why? Because the risk is there. I've been using the ATR, average true range, to help me set stops so I don't get wicked out. I add ATR to previous candle's lowest wick price and set stop. I love the outlook there, Bruce. You're giving a lot of wisdom in that message there. And I hope that other traders at least take the time, not necessarily to do it how you're doing it, Bruce, but just to take a look at what average true range does and how it can help you get around the volatility. Really great mention there, Bruce. Always appreciate you, Bruce. You're dropping some good information. I want to give you a shout out.
Yep.
So
appreciate that. Appreciate anybody that helps the group, honestly.
Yeah, things like that is definitely a plus. Paul C coming in right behind that, right, Bruce? I do the same, but I add a few cents to not let the market makers push me out. Tips, team, tips. We can't give you guys exactly how to go about it, but you guys see other people's process. We can learn from that. Here's 1814s. As we go a little bit higher, going to take some profits in this name, of course. We've been pushing here 16. Let's try to get 19 here on a little spike. I might have to cancel it to 18. I could see it just like clicking 18, then holding for a second. I'm going to try to take some out at 1818 and then just look for the real breakdown to happen, which is, remember, I drew this out for a reason before this happened. Will Apple come to 158? Will we see the 390 break on the SPY? That's the continued downside move. Now I'm going to look to see if we can get it. Qs is another way to look at this. And if you wanted to look at it, that's a low of 307.50s, 5 minute down there, going to 307 is what we'll look to see if we get it. All right, 1816s. I'm about 2 pennies away from taking some profits. There we go. Boom, baby. Just took majority of the profits there. Now can let success work for the continuation. Ow, I'm sorry, Hendrix. I just woke him up. I feel bad.
From the clapping?
Yeah. He was like, dude, come on, bro.
Blue eyes are very nice.
Very nice. All right, team. Let's see. Is it time to
Get to the chopper!
We'll find out, team. Smash it up.
Day and night.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorites.
I talked about it, man. This is the party. Welcome to the party.
Welcome to the party.
Where's the seat, man? Yes, we got it.
We're
Mitch.
going higher, baby. Success. Towards the intraday high now. Went towards 830s now. Where's the next profit take? Let's use our hourlies. Let's take a look at when the next resistance come into play and take it upon that, right? Hourly high, 835 is the next one in play for me. So 835, I'll take some profits. Let's see if we can get it there and then just continue to work the trade up. We'll find out what happens. At this point, I let the trade work for me, team. There is zero pressure from here on out. And this is my favorite type of trade, right? Where I've taken some profits. And at this point, whatever the market wants to do, let it just do it. Don't think about it. Don't feel about it. Just let it do. That's what I mean by letting the market work for me. Now it's doing the job. I did my job, which was execution of strategy, right? At this point, it's now just execution of reward and letting the market do the work, right? This is when I love it, because this is how I truly have gotten to the point where there's certain times where trades can be like not stressful for me. This is how I go about it for trades to not be stressful for me. All right, what else is going on? Nice, love your guys' trading success. There you go, easy. It's the easiest pair. Honestly, easy. When next time you are able to knock one of those pair trades on this, I would love for you to come on and talk about it.
Yes,
because I've always wanted to do a little bit more pairs trading, and I've tested it on the side, like, you know, just trying to test it, but I've never really focused on it. It would be awesome to hear traders that do focus on it, come on to the show and talk about it. All right, success there towards 1829s, 35s or 34s. We'll take a little bit more profit and just continue to work it, right? All right, looking for the NEE pullback. Did we ever get a chance there? You guys remember I had drawn this here, the little box? I even put out an order at 74. It never came back there. It bounced off of VWAP back to the upside. Looking at the utility names to see if this is a trade that I could take today to the upside, right? I'm looking for some type of plays to play to the upside. To me, this makes sense. This doesn't look too bad. XLU, Duke, names like that. Excel Energy, XEL. This one doesn't look too bad if it can pull back to like 1680s or 63.75. I don't like to get on these at VWAP because they've just been slightly uptrending all day. A lot of times we can get a little wick test to the downside of it. So I'll look to see if we can get it. So I set an alert, 63.80s. But once it come back, it'll hit it. All right, what's going on out there? Lucas says he's done for the day. I've made my target for the day with a little extra. So do some other work. Gonna see you on Monday. Hey, shout out to you, my brother. If there's any time that you guys are like this and you guys feel like it's better for you guys to just head out the door, trust me, do it. Ryan and I will not be hurt because you headed out the door. If anything, we'd be happy that you went with your process approach and were able to make gains and get the hell out of here. Because at the end of the day, yes, we do this show. We love doing it. But at the end of the day, we're doing this for a reason, right? We want to see everybody have success. Of course, we can't be the reason why, but we would love to see it, right? We're not going to be mad about it. Shout out to you, Lucas. Get out of here, my friend. Go to the beach like my man Beach Bum Trading would do.
Beach Bum, man, he's got the life. He's takes some of the most gorgeous pictures of the ocean, trades all day.
Where he lives too, man, is awesome. I'll tell you right now, Ryan, it's an amazing place. I've been telling Beach Bum, when's the meeting? Because I'm going over there. When's the trading
I'll join
meeting?
you. I'll join
right?
you, Mitch.
Yeah, I'll sit
Mitch,
on the
we need
beach.
to do when you really get the hops built up, we need to do a video of you jumping over me. I'm 6'4". So
dude, I'm jumping the jacuzzi that day. We're going. Let's do it. I'll jump a car if I have to. You guys seen Tyreek Hill jump a car? Well, let's do Money Mitch jump a car. What do you guys think?
Just don't get hurt.
Nah, you do it the smart way, like they did it, right? You stand on the sidewalk and you have the car drive by you, and you jump
and take a video from the side.
And then it looks like you just jumped the whole vehicle. Sox ass continuing to work there. Didn't get to the 1834s though. We're just going to keep break even on the rest, pulling back here. Really, I'd like to see it hold 18 on pullbacks now and just continue driving further, right? But the SPY can always make these little tests to the upside. So we have to be aware of these, right? Look how it's just testing right now, right? Back to the upside. It wicks down, back to the upside. What do I look for now? 5-minute close above 392s, right? That could be reversal sign for tech to get a little lift. There's no reason why tech couldn't get a little lift today. And then in the afternoon, you see the big boys knock it down, right? Not saying that that's 100%, but I'm just trying to put all different types of scenario analysis out there. Paul C saying Beach is amazing. I don't even think Beach is here today. Oh, there he is. There he is. We got the umbrellas. We got the tropical paradise drinks. Let's go. Trust me, Ryan and I are already there, man. Already there.
Dude, I love meeting people from the community. I am 100% in for that.
Yeah, hell yeah, hell yeah. I've been trying to plan like a little meetup, maybe Orlando. Maybe we do Orlando and then we make a beach day out of it, right? We do a little trading seminar in Orlando. We do a little like kind of lessons. I could bring some of my CMT friends to kind of teach us some things. What do you guys think about that, chat? You guys let us know. Would you guys be willing to go to Orlando, Florida? We would need like at least like 100 of you guys to say, yeah, you're about it. But let us know. We're always willing to do different things here at Benzinga and try something new. All right, Success pulling back here. It might crack through 18 and get back to the VWAP. Now, I'm under VWAP, so at least that makes me feel a lot confident to hold in this position. But some traders might just run to the profit. That's completely up to you. At this point, I'm putting break even and stop watching the trade, because at this point, I need to what? Take the stress off the trade. If it pulls back, it cuts me out. SPY is making that little move, so that's why I get a little bit more concerned. And we only got 10 seconds left on this, so it does look like we might close above 392. We'll find out. Watch when the next candle opens. That's what matters to me. You see how the candle opens this time at 392.50s? That shows to me that we could get a little bit of upside action. So with that being said, Success break even for me on the rest. And if I wanted to, I could look at a trade like Apple's reversing. I could look at like a SOX L and actually go against my own trade, like the pairs trading action that we talk about, right? So it's all up to you, team. You guys determine what you want to go after. For me, I'm at this point just looking to see what happens in my oil trades. Those are trying to go a little bit higher here. Still not really kind of breaking through this 102.20s where I kind of want to take some profits if we get through 102.50s on XOM. So I'll keep watch on that. If anything, I'll just take another kind of like half on the Exxon Mobil and just leave the rest break even.
Alexa saying, what about a little golf, Arfaluna? Yeah, definitely. How about a lot, right? If we go into Florida for a meetup, you can best believe we will be hitting the golf courses in Florida. They are spectacular. Yes, sign me up. 100% down. We're getting a lot of Mitch. Let's coordinate on this. Let's actually get the tires rolling on this, because the thing is, if we get enough people, we could actually turn this into a Benzinga event and get some really cool stuff out there, as opposed to just like a live trading event. We could make it an actual Benzinga event, trading, golf outing, beach outing. We could, a lot of things are possible. Let's get on it.
You know me, Ryan. I'm all about it. I'm all about trying to do some new things here. And then if you guys are all interested, what I'll do is this. Team, you really want to make this happen? It's as simple as this. And I'll tell you guys, it sounds crazy, but it's as simple as this. You guys email me, blow up my emails with, I want a trading event in Orlando. I'm throwing up my email right now. If you guys give us tons of feedback, trust me, I'll get it to the right people.
Let's go. We'll go talk to Patrick. Let's get it scheduled, my man. Let's do it. I'm in for this.
Oh, I'm always about it, man. I can do a lesson on Mitch's rule of 3. Boom, boom. Bring some examples.
Draw your charts in the sand and everything. Oh,
I got connections also in Orlando, man. I used to do valet at World Center Marriott that has a golf course, Ryan. A world-class golf course right on the hotel. Look, they tried to rug pull Ryan. They said, no golfing outing. Oh, man, my boy Ryan, he'll be back. 2 seconds, team. Joe Dagger said, I'm in Boynton Beach. Now I'm going to the beach tomorrow with my kids. Let's go. They tried to get you, my friend.
I was so blown away by your connect that my computer just dropped my connection. So,
yeah, World Center Marriott. I used to valet on there. That's where I got to drive all the fancy cars I've ever wanted to drive and will never buy. But yeah, shout out to that.
Actually, you know, it's funny, Mitch. I actually used to, when I was younger, I actually used to work for a catering company, and on the North Shore of Chicago here, there are quite a few very expensive cars. And at some of those events that I catered, the valet company sometimes wouldn't show up or wouldn't be equipped. And I was one of the few people on the team that could drive stick shift. So man, I got lucky a couple of times. There one of those parties, I think I had 3 different Ferraris, a Modena, a 355 Spider. Oh man, it was.
Yo, Hawaii knows the hotel. They even got a lazy river in the back. I was never allowed because, I was valet, but I see the lazy river at least. It looks fun. I mean, huge pool. They got a park, a water park. Come on, guys. We're going to do it good. All right, drip. Drip, drip, drip coming towards my area now. 1712s. I don't mind taking a day trade on drip. We'll see what happens there. Of course, this is kind of double and triple dipping, so you got to be careful when you do things like this. Always understand your risk, right? Let's say for the swings, those could never be losers now, so I don't have to stress too much, but definitely got to worry about the drip trade if I want to take it here. I had an alert to set me off through that 1735, so it just let me know, like, hey, pay attention to this. Now I can start dipping my toes for reversal action. What do I need to see? A reversal pattern. It can't just be because the stock is going down, right? So we have like this, 1 second here. We got like this bear flag here that you can clearly see here. So this is a bear flag. Why is it a bear flag? Because you have two trend lines. Two trend lines make it a bear flag, right? If not, a pennant would be more if it was going to the middle and looking like this, but it's a flag. It's a bear flag, right? So what I could look for is an attempt to cut through 1720s again, making a little bit of a bottoming action like around 1715s and then coming back through 1735. 1735 is really that reversal signal back to the upside, but just going to keep an eye on it there on drip.
And
So
real quick, drama curling off of its off of the low here. Let's see if drama actually can give us a little bit of a volume pop. Oh, I didn't share my chart. Sorry.
Got you, bro. It's already up.
No, I know, but I have the stuff, the lines, and all the other cool stuff. All right,
I see that pullback though.
Yeah, so this pullback here, really this curl off the bottom here. Let's see if we can actually get some juice through 220. If we get that with a volume pop, I think your first target can probably be 226. And that's only really 6 cents of movement, so maybe we want to see it go through the VWAP. But curls seem to be working better now.
Pullback to 1720s. I'll get into drip. It's already higher than this. It's at 1740s, but I don't chase. I look for pullback entries. We'll look to see if I get it. Success back towards the 1816. So that makes me feel a little bit more confident about that. And what did we do? We went for a downside attempt to break 18, give a couple of wicks there, and back to the upside. So at least that's just stair stepping its way and doesn't look weak. Why? Because it didn't come back to VWAP. If it came back to VWAP, it would be a little bit more sign of concern. So if we get a VWAP move next, that's where I'd be a little bit worried about success reversing back to the downside. If we take out 1830s, we're in the clear, and it looks like we're starting to really drive. Of course, you guys make your own levels, and we'll see what happens today. SPY back below the 392s. It's a tough one, team. A lot of chop out there right now. Will drip give me the pullback opportunity? It might just take off.
Voodoo, thanks for all your participation this week. Your call on PayPal yesterday, was that yesterday or the day before? Was choice. That was probably the best call of the day. Was that? Yeah, it was yesterday. It was yesterday right out of the open. PayPal bounced from 71 to 74.5. Awesome job there on that call out. No trades today. Love the discipline. Have yourself a great weekend. By the way, let's see if we can meet up. I'm going to be in Detroit next week. I get there Tuesday. Let me know what your schedule's like.
Time to hit the gym, says J2K. Go get it, my friend. Go get a nice little lift. I honestly, if I didn't have a Benzinga job team, that's probably where I'd be going after trading. I'd be
no question. No question. In fact, a couple of the traders that I know that do nothing but trade, don't have any other job. They just go to the gym. Sometimes when it's slow, right after the open, it's just time to go to the gym.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that outlook
either. Probably help. Not only helps your physical condition, but probably your mental and condition and trading ability as well.
Yeah, sometimes you just need to clear the mind. I've been learning in different ways to redirect, right? I've told you guys my new secret trick is just catching a tiny bit of the Price is Right. I like to see people win and lose money. This is what happens in the market every day. So after this, I go see a game show where people win and lose money, right? And it gets me to understand more and more. Winning and losing is not what you should depend on how your emotions run off of, right? If we're playing a game of winning and losing, we can't derive our feelings off of that. We have to derive our feelings more off of our execution and processed approach. So like the same thing I do in the market, I think about it in the Price is Right. I'm like, bro, you should have said 701 or $1. That was a better processed approach there, and you might have made it onto the show.
I'd love to see you just get so angry at those contestants that you just chuck something at the screen. That would make me laugh bigly.
Oh, yesterday was one of those. It was a 2-over day in the showcase where no one wins the prize. I'm like, come on, guys. Come on. No one wins the prize. I want to see somebody win. Gotta find things, team, that can make you focus.
Walks are totally underrated, in my opinion. First of all, they're better on your back than running. You still burn calories, and getting that fresh air is awesome. If you could take a walk every day, I bet you'd be happier and in better shape, even if it was a mile or two. I try to do 3, but man, good call right here. Good call.
Yeah, I like that outlook there. How's the GE, man? I'm still waiting to get back into GE. We got stopped out early on, right? And I want to get back into this, but I needed to crack VWAP. So I'm going to set an alert here to kind of keep a watch on it. Some people kind of get into it here, but what I need to see is weakness, right? Look at drip starting to take off. It didn't give me a chance to join this trade, team. I was looking at it. 1720 was my alert. Maybe I could have got in as soon as I got my alert, but I usually take an assessment when I get that alert, right? I don't want to just be alert jumping in. That's easily how I get wrecked because I didn't take an assessment, right? But yeah, drip coming back there, 1750, almost back to the VWAP where I would be selling some, and then looking to see if we can get back to the opening price. Opening price is, I'm trying to get the opening price here for you guys. Let me zoom in a little bit here. Opening price for drip is 1750. Boom. We're getting right there. 1750s right now. There goes GE. Look at that. Look at that. Let's go. Come on, get it below VWAP. I want to jump in this back. I want to jump back in, baby. We'll get short some GE. We'll see what happens, team.
SPY higher lows so far today, so that's encouraging, but we might still just kind of be range bound here.
Yeah, lots of chop.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I think maybe between 394 and 389, probably the range for the day. See if we end up breaking out of that.
Look to see what happens to the banks here. Look how JPM is just slightly above VWAP. This looks like a VWAP fake out fade, but could also become a VWAP bounce, right? What I mean by fake out fade, 3 attempts to break above VWAP, then rejects the support on the downside break and just comes right back to the low of the day. We'll see what happens there on JPM. Success looks like it wants a little bit more. Let's see if I can get it to the 1834s, take a little bit more out and leave the rest for a little bit of running action. There's JPM now testing back. Let's see if we crack the support and then just really come right back down. This is like kind of the 124.36 area. And I wanted to break down all the way to the low of the day to show like a real kind of rejection, hard rejection towards like 124 and 123.80s. Careful with wicks, team. Be careful with those wicks. Next era, never making it back down, canceling that order. Just looked at it, was like, oh, is it going to maybe come down to 74? Nah, I never went back down there. Didn't give me the chance on the pullback. And that's okay too, team. Misses, I think, are 10 times better for me than chase and loss. Right? Chase and loss just upsets me.
Chasing is never good, Mitch.
I don't know about you. I'm just like, that's just so rookie of me, right?
Pharaoh Tower is asking if Ford is crashing soon. Ford really needs to break 11. In fact, if you want to see the trade plan here, I can show you. We've talked about this on Happy Hours. Has been one that we've been looking at. So this is a daily chart here for Ford, and you can see that this 11 support has been rock solid. Now, a couple of things to notice. All right, we are kind of in this type of downtrend, and we are getting button up against this. Let's go ahead and mark this as close to 11 as I can get. 1099. You guys know that that's 11. So we're getting this triangle. Descending triangle, right, Mitch? right? So the longer the price stays in here, eventually we're going to break out of this. I think we probably break, if we do break out of this 846, let's call it 850, your downside target here. If we end up holding this, I think that we probably make another run towards what, 12, maybe 12 and a half. So this is kind of what I'm looking at it for. To your original question, when's it going to break down? Needs to break down 11 first before it goes to that 850.
Canceling my order at 1834 is tech looks weak for me, team. So I think they could even drive a little bit higher than that. I'm just going to watch the action, and I'll probably just bid out when I want to take some profits. But look at how weak AMD is looking right now. AMD looks really weak. Of course, some of the strongest names. NVIDIA, really weak, right? And so I've talked about NVIDIA short today, but I couldn't get it because it didn't get to my levels. But it does look weak here. So let's see if we actually get a breakdown on some of these names like NVIDIA and AMD, and then look to see if Microsoft can actually turn around to the red. Google is like right off the VWAP, just rejected that 105.60s. Let's see if it makes a down move. And then Apple has been hanging out above the VWAP. Let's see if that actually gets below VWAP now.
Tom S saying, hi Ryan, SQ pulled back. What's your thoughts on a reversal? Do you think it goes lower? So there's a short report out there, and I haven't really looked into it. I didn't really get a chance yesterday. Maybe this weekend. Maybe, I don't know. But where do I see it going? Honestly, I see it going to this 51, right? I do see it kind of testing this support here. I'm not sure if that holds. Square really, really weak. The complaint or the accusation about misleading on the number of subscribers, that's trouble. I know how much people like the actual like software. We had a whole bunch of people talking about how great it is for their small business. I really appreciate when small businesses like if you go to like an art fair or some type of like, you know, outdoor someone help me out. You know what I'm talking about? Where people
like
I went to one.
Shop.
I went to one
a
in
flea
Arizona.
shop or a swap shop.
Yeah, I went to one in Arizona where this woodmaker was making like a bunch of cool things out of wood, and one of the things that he had was a pen that this middle piece is a black wood, but the other cool thing about it is that the tip there is modeled off of a bullet.
That's pretty cool.
Yep, sure is, and the back looks like the back of a bullet where the firing pin would hit. And the way to get the ink out is to like a bolt and a bolt carrier.
Oh, I like it.
So this is a really sweet kind of unique thing. And the guy that ran the shop took Square. And I didn't have cash on me. If he didn't take Square, there's no way I would have been able to get that souvenir. So that's just one example. I really, really appreciate the product. I like the product. I want to like the company, but the short report does have me worried a little bit. Jack's wokeness has me worried quite a bit. So to me, you know, a dope pen, Ryan. Thank you. A swap meet. There would be another one. So yeah. So things like I really like Square. I want to like this, and I want to actually take this for like a longer I want to actually own this long term, but I want to feel better about it, and I don't do that right now. As far as the area here, I think 51 might be a good bounce spot.
All right, waiting for GE to crack the VWAP here, and then can watch to see if we get back above 9150s here. Going to take another attempt in GE as it comes down here. There's my alert for it, because I've been watching it, set an alert. Now just looking for a little bounce here into the 30s and then start kind of jamming on this GE.
Hodl Strategies saying, got to get a holster for that bad boy. It actually came with like this suede pouch and actually came with an ink refill. Like the dude thought about everything. So I was like, wow, that's really unique, really cool. I'm going to take that. Thankfully, he took Square.
Starter back in that GE short 9130s. Got the bounce into the space. Now we'll just start looking to see if we can crack 91s. Bounces at 9150s. I can add. Got to hold to 92 on the risk here. We'll see what happens there. GE, as I take some other shots, right? Got to take shots, right? That's what it's all about sometimes. XOM coming back down. Can we crack the 101 and start making a move? As we do that, I'll start taking some profits, right? We came down just a little bit closer a little while ago towards 191. Can we really crack that going to like 150? I'll take some more profits on XOM, and that will be like kind of like a 5% gain there. It's been a nice one for me. I'm going to keep battling on some oil names. All right, it's about 10:49. We got about 9 minutes left here, team. Then we'll get you guys over to All Access. And I do see somebody is in the back that you guys will probably want to watch on All Access. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully he made some money today. Let me see if a smile or not. I see that smile there in the back. Don't worry, team. I always love to mess with Zunaid. It's always fun, team. He'll be back with us in just a little bit. You guys smash the like button. We'll find out what happens today. Let's get to some other action here. Let's go to the sectors. Let's go through a little bit of an outlook here before we get too far away. Utilities still driving higher, real estate behind that. Then you got defensive names, right? And wouldn't you know it, I almost have to do this every day now. Is Kroger still moving? Kroger's is still moving. I won't ever let this one go.
No, I know.
That's life. That's life, man.
I know.
Don't mess with Money Mitch. He'll remember it. All right, we'll see what else is going on. We'll see what else is going on. Defensive names going up, of course. And when you get concerned, what usually happens? Well, tobacco make a lift, right? Philip Morris trying to bounce a little bit today. I just trying to get a little bounce. I've never traded tobacco names. I don't think I've ever traded these names, but have you ever traded one of these, Ryan?
Which?
A tobacco name?
No, I stay away from that. I lost my dad to lung cancer, so I really can't justify buying a tobacco company.
I'm with you on the same thing. I never end up buying it, Ryan. And sorry to hear that, but at the same time, it's more like I agree with you. That's why I don't touch these either, right? Yeah. It's my like there's other opportunities out there.
Well, that's the thing. Like it's a moral thing for me, right? It's not something that I want to do. There are a couple of stocks like that, but thankfully there are plenty of different opportunities out there that I'm able to take advantage of. By the way, SPY, real quick, want to take a look at what's going on here. SPY higher lows. Let's see if this continues or if this breaks. We're right at the test right now, so we shall see.
Yeah, a lot of love in the chat there for you, but they agree also. Only buy companies you believe in. I like that outlook, David.
Absolutely.
Especially
trade. One of the big tips that I used to give people when they used to ask me about, like what are some of the lessons you learned? Trade what you know. Trade things that you're familiar with because you're going to be able to react to news and numbers better than things you're not familiar with. And when it comes into things that like you really have strong feelings about, like I wouldn't feel good about making money off tobacco companies. That's a me thing, right? Not for everybody, but that's a me thing. Thankfully, I've been able to find out.
Adding here to GE, taking my shot. Rejection of 9150s is what I saw there. So I will add to my GE and take my shot in GE to the short side there, right through my average. I got there 91.27, so about 3 cents off my original entry, 91.30s. It rejected the move back above 91.50s. So now if it closes above 91.50s, I can just get out. And so it's a really tight risk to reward. But if the daily chart starts to break down and we get back here towards 89, I really think we could crack hard on these names. They've been so strong. And honestly, this is one that I fought before. I've won, lost once. Let's see if I get it this time.
All right.
All right, it's about 10:52. Last little comments there, Ryan. You want to kind of wrap up, talk about anything that you saw this week, and of course, you can also make some other comments if you think that you know who's going to win the March Madness. I got no problem with that.
You don't want that, all right? So I got asked yesterday on Happy Hour who I had, and I went 1-3. 1-3 in just yesterday's game. So I'm looking to bounce back on that. I do think Alabama's going to win, although I'm not rooting for them. We'll see what ends up happening. As far as the market goes, big week here with the Fed. We got the 25 bips raise that we talked about. Want to see how the market actually digests this. Again, my thought on this is that we are probably going to go lower. One of the things that I'd really like to see is a capitulation. That would help me get more bullish. We'll obviously watch the dollar, the 10-year. So a couple of things to watch. I'm probably not going to take any more trades here today. It's a Friday. We already hit drama out of the open here. Don't want to screw anything up, and certainly don't want to hold anything over the weekend. So I'll reassess on Monday. Have a good one, folks. Stay green, stay safe, and we will see you next week.
Have a great weekend, my friend. I'll see you next time. Definitely going to start wrapping up here in just a second, but we do have all access. Zunaid will be joining us in just a second, so don't go anywhere, team. Stick right here on Benzinga. Going to wrap up a little bit here of my trading, right? It's still got success. That's been the top trade of the day that we've already taken some profits on it. Now I'm going to look for this to continue to work. Once we get through this kind of last little push here, it could get us to the 1840s. So I'm going to see if we get that drive to 1840s. Going to take some profits there and then look to see if some of the tech names continue the downside action. Look at AMD. Look at NVIDIA. I want to see if Apple can go red now. Google, can that go red? Can Microsoft go red? Can these big names go red? Microsoft's hanging in there. I will say that. Of all the names that are hanging in there, that one does look like it's hanging in there. Tesla going a little bit lower. Amazon, how's that doing? That looks pretty weak there. Let's see if we can get this next step up and drive it through the kind of the 1840s, take some profits and continue to drive. GE now below VWAP. That looks good for me. I'll keep going after a team. And of course, you guys know my oil trades. Those are still on. We'll see what happens there. XOM, can we go back through that 190 spot? We'll take some profits to keep looking for the XLE to break the daily levels of the Thursday 316, 75.36. If that cuts, we could see lower in some oil. So, yeah, it could bring the oil prices down and help bring inflation down too, right? I mean, let's keep watching to see if oil can break down. And you guys could also keep an eye on like WTI. That's what I'm watching for, to kind of keep a close eye on oil. And I wanted to see it get back into the 60s today. And of course, it is back into the 60s. Went as low today towards 66.82, a high at 70.38. I don't want to see that back at 70s. I want it to start staying into the 60s. We'll see what happens there. Stick Figure Fridays, Hawaii's house. I'm coming, Hawaii. All right, we'll be wrapping up in just a few seconds, team, about 3 or 4 minutes here. And then we'll get you guys over to the interview. All right, we'll see what happens. Can I get the little last spike in success, or will we get the spike in the SPY, right? I mean, watch out, team. It's going to be one of those days where we have seen some chop, right? It could still keep chopping around. We'll see what happens. All right, let's go to the main charts here. Let's take a look at the success trade. Will we get the move? Kind of rejected that 34. You guys remember earlier I wanted to take some profits at that 34. Why? Because there was the 835 high here, right? 1835. I was looking to take some profits there, but I could see the momentum driving. So I'm trying to get a little bit more. Could be getting a little bit greedy, and that happens, team. We'll find out. All right, still looking for that XOM breakdown to take some more profits here. If we can get that XOM breakdown through that 101, could take some good profits. That would be a 5% unrealized, right? I'm looking for that. Let's see if we get it. All right, team, we're going to start wrapping up here, getting you guys right over to the interview. So stick around, team. Like always, you guys can catch me a little bit later on Start Swing Trading as I go through these swing trades, talk all about them, find out, am I still in that GE? You guys can catch me a little bit later today, 3 p.m. Eastern, but don't go anywhere. Zunaid's jumping on right now to do a great interview like always. It's all about the stories. You guys hear me talking about story all the time. That's what we really try to do here at Benzinga. Like I do on this stream, I can't tell you guys which way to trade, but I can definitely point to flags over here, opportunities, so that you guys can make your investment decisions, right? Now I'm going to kick it over, bring on my man Zunaid, and start to head out. You guys have a great one, team, like always. Keep pushing. It's good to see you, my friend. Good day.
Hey, good. It's been a good day. Can't complain, and looking forward to the interview we're about to have, and I'll see you later on for Swing.
Always. Have a good one, Zunaid. Have a great.
Take care, my man. What's going on, chat? Happy Friday to you. And yeah, Mitch is right. Look, we'll never tell you to buy something, to sell something, whether it's in live trading or otherwise. And of course, you know, with All Access, we like to talk to executives so that you can get the answers to your questions directly from them. Then you can make the decision with your hard-earned money if you'd like to invest or otherwise. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and start All Access. How's it going, Jerry?
Today, hey, good morning. How are
Good
you?
morning to you. I'm doing well. This is Jerry Griffin, who is the Vice President of Sales and Marketing of InMed Pharmaceuticals, ticker INM. I appreciate you hanging out with us today, Jerry.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Jerry, I got a lot of stuff to ask you, but before we get into the nitty gritty things, I'd love for you to explain it to me like I'm five. What is it that your company does?
Yeah, I guess good place to start would probably be just talk about the InMed business first and foremost. InMed is our parent company. They're a NASDAQ listed pharmaceutical drug development company. As you mentioned, the ticker is INM. What's really unique about InMed is they do nothing but pharmaceutical drug development focused on rare cannabinoids. Now, cannabinoids are compounds that are typically found in the cannabis sativa plant. They've got a lot of health and wellness value. And InMed focuses entirely on all their drug development with rare cannabinoids as the focal point. Now, they've got three programs currently, three drug development programs. One is the epidermolysis bullosa program, which is currently in stage 2 or phase 2 clinicals. And I think we're the only company that has a rare cannabinoid at that stage in the FDA drug development process. The second program is our glaucoma program, which is a preclinical program. And the third is our neurodegenerative program, which is kind of early days, but the focus there is on really horrible neurodegenerative diseases like ALS and Huntington's and things of that manner. Now, BayMedica is InMed's commercial ingredients company. We focus entirely on the manufacturing and sale of rare cannabinoids into the health and wellness markets. And what's really interesting about us is we do all of our manufacturing outside the plant. So we don't use any plants in our processes. We use things like chemical synthesis or biosynthesis, which is kind of a fancy name for fermentation. And what we do is we identify compounds that have high health and wellness value and are impractical to produce from the plant or otherwise represented in very small amounts in the plant. And we make those in a what we call a bioidentical manner. So they're molecularly identical to what the plant makes. What's probably worth noting, which is very unique about this duo of companies, is that if you're a company like InMed, you would typically, of their size, that you would typically go out for outside capital, and you would hit milestones, and you'd raise more capital. You hit milestones, raise more capital, until eventually you are in a place where it's pretty clear you're going to get to an FDA approval. Very, very infrequently are these types of companies self-funded, and BayMedica provides an opportunity for InMed to partially self-fund itself, and then if myself and my team does their job well, in the near future, we could be, fully funded through the BayMedica business. And just to kind of put a bow on it, typically, the cannabinoids that we produce today, one is called cannabichromene. It's kind of our flagship product. Cannabichromene is what's responsible for a majority of our revenue and free cash flow. And then we've got three others rather that we launched in the last year: THCV, CBDV, CBT, all of which have really interesting use cases, but they're just kind of finding their footing in the market. And we'll see if they can do for us what CBC's done for us thus far.
Yeah. So when it comes to CBC, when it comes to CBDV and other, things that you've mentioned, how would that help the average viewer in their everyday lives? Like, what are the benefits of that, would you say? Because that's like the biggest misconception that I find. And it's, I understand you may not be into the nitty gritty things, but that's the biggest thing where I feel like folks are misunderstanding of like, hey, what is it? What are the benefits? Why does one take it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so, I would say that one of the contributing factors to our, more recent success has been this critical mass of consumer education. It's very difficult for me to sit here and give you a summary of all the primary research that's been done on all these
Sure.
compounds and the different use cases. And in fact, I'd probably be running afoul of the FDA if I did do that.
Let's not do that.
But there is a ton of literature out there. There is a ton of information that any consumer could look into themselves to get a feel for why they may want to buy a product that has CBC in it or CBDV in it.
Can you explain a little bit about your biosynthesis process, and especially if any of the tech or how much of the tech is and proprietary to you, and that kind of gives you the edge over, say, your competitors?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, at a very high level, we've got some IP moats around, a lot of our processes, whether it be our ChemSynth processes or our biosynthesis processes. Biosynthesis specifically is just a fancy way of saying fermentation, right? In the same way that, brewers' yeast can produce alcohol by feeding it sugar, what we aim to do is um, genetically modify an organism. In our case, a lot of it's yeast derived. Yeast is the microorganism. And we train that organism to create a cannabinoid versus create alcohol or whatever other whatever else that microorganism would typically excrete given the input material. So it's really just a very high tech version of creating alcohol via fermentation.
Yeah. Now, look, I kind of want to go over your revenues, if I may. So you posted about a 46 revenue increase in quarter over quarter. I'm curious as to what you believe was the reason for that jump, but more importantly, for the viewers that are watching, if you believe this will continue and what you're expecting moving forward.
Yeah, so as I alluded to a minute ago, the biggest driver, in my estimation, around our recent success, you touched on the Q1 to Q2 revenue increase of 46%. It's really this critical mass of consumer education. We've been out there beating the drum on the health and wellness values of the compounds we make. Then you have some very large players with much larger voices than ours launching products and talking about their excitement around rare cannabinoids. Now, as an example, Kronos, who you may be familiar with, seems to be having a lot of success with a CBC product in Canada. And the US companies are starting to really kind of track that success and follow suit. They've been very vocal about their success with this and specifically around rare cannabinoids. And lastly, I think one of the contributing factors is kind of a personal theory, but rare cannabinoids provide for a relatively inexpensive way to innovate in what's right now a very cash constrained environment, right? 98% of the capital that was flowing into the space not too long ago has pretty much dried up. And it's very difficult to take a new form factor from conception all the way through product development and all the way to retail. Whereas rare cannabinoids give you an opportunity to really just reformulate and rebuild the products that you currently have to address a different use case or to create a different effect. So those are kind of the contributing factors. You touched on, our trajectory or what's next. Was that the second part of your question?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess I would start with 2022, right? 2022 was kind of a building year for us.
Mm-hmm.
We had to make sure that we could scale production and that we could operationally digest the opportunity that we felt that our go-to-market strategy would allow for. We had to build a sales funnel, which is no small feat. It's pretty heavy lift. And that required a lot of travel, a lot of trade shows, a lot of in-market activity, a lot of relationship building across the value chain. And we also needed to do our best with a very small voice to normalize this concept of bioidentical cannabinoids to a market that was built around an agricultural crop that people are very passionate about. So they kind of viewed what we did as unsavory for one reason or another, maybe too disruptive, maybe, scary, like it's going to put them out of business, which we're none of those things, right? We actually view ourselves as just, contributing to the supply chain of cannabinoids where the plant just isn't the right method. Right. It's, the plant is a very good factory for making a lot of different cannabinoids, but the cannabinoids that we produce are very impractical to pull from the plant. And so, from our perch above this entire cannabinoid value chain, if you will, things are absolutely accelerating. We can see all the activity across the segment. We can see what's going on with contract manufacturers, product developers, what's going on at retail. And I don't think that anybody would be surprised. Anybody that's similarly situated to us in the space, that's also a cannabinoid ingredient manufacturer, if we saw triple-digit growth going forward, if not certainly high double-digit growth in the very near term.
Yeah. And one thing that I wanted to touch on is, we talked about, or actually you kind of mentioned how folks may not be familiar with the products that y'all have. And especially when it comes to cannabis items, things like that, some folks can get a little iffy about it. But have you seen any change in the demographic of folks that use your product and your services and what y'all are doing, especially companies or individuals that may have been like opposed to it in the past?
Well, let's start with the companies that we would be opposed to it in the past, right? I've been in and around cannabinoids since 2017, right? And I've been specifically in the kind of biotech play on cannabinoids for the last 3 years. And when I first started pitching this concept of bioidentical, biosynthesis derived, chemical synthesis derived cannabinoids to the market, everybody was kind of like, all the brands, right? We're a B2B company, so we're dealing directly only with businesses, but they were all kind of like, yuck, right? I want nothing to do with that, right? We're all plant all day, and that's what we do. And over time, you kind of continue to rinse, wash, repeat the pitch, and they start to realize, the gears start to catch, and the light bulb starts to go off, where they're like, okay, if I want to produce products at scale, precisely, batch after batch after batch, which is really what you need to do if you're a CPG company, which is what all these products eventually will become. You can't have variability that the plant provides for with certain cannabinoids like the ones that we make, right? Like I said, the plant makes some cannabinoids very, very well. CBD, it does very, very well, right? CBG, as in girl, it does very, very well. But when it comes to what we do, you're not going to be able to have that consistency, that reliability of supply chain, that batch to batch consistency that you would from the plant that you would get with our products. So the market has really started to embrace this. And we've got no shortage of, very large, well-known brands that are incorporating our ingredients into their producs.
Yeah.
So in terms of demographics, I would say that remains to be seen, right? We lean into Headset and the other, business intelligence types of companies that track products in the space. And then hopefully eventually, we'll be leaning into the more CPG focused business intelligence companies once the, big CPG companies start to get off the sidelines around this. But we don't have a lot of insight into the demos. We just have a lot of insight into the cannabinoids that are selling and what form factors and potentially what, if we research those further, what are the use cases that they're targeting, right?
Yeah.
But certainly I think anybody that is paying attention would say that, this transcends demographic, right? Cannabinoids have use cases for all people everywhere. No matter what it is that you're having, issues with or what they're trying to get under control. And so I think it kind of does transcend demographics. And you're starting to see that stigma go away, and you're starting to see, everybody participate.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And one last question for me before I turn the floor over to you is, how would kind of like a full legislation, especially on the federal side of things, change your industry, and how could it benefit you and your parent company as well?
Sure. So, right now, we have concerns about really getting overcorrected out of the market. And what I mean by that is that you've got, for example, these adult use hemp cannabinoids, right? These things like Delta-8 and HHC, which regulators kind of view as potentially harmful, non-compliant, or both. And they may be right. In a lot of cases, these molecules are synthetic. And so a really easy, cleanup of this would be, let's just ban all synthetics. Now, I don't see that happening at federal level, but I certainly see it, in local jurisdictions.
Of course.
And we would get mopped up in that, which would be a shame because, the way we view it, a molecule is a molecule. It doesn't matter if it comes from a plant. It doesn't matter if it comes from modern manufacturing processes like what we do. And to take it a step further, let's look at citric acid, right? Or let's look at aspirin, right? Salicylic acid, another word for aspirin. Maybe this stuff at one point in time came from citric or from citrus trees or from orange peels, or from willow trees, right?
Yeah.
But now that's not the case. It's all synthetic. and it all comes from biosynthesis or chemical synthesis. And if you were to eliminate synthetics in those supply chains, the global demand would never be able to be met. In fact, nobody would have access to these ingredients, and they wouldn't get the benefit of these really, really useful ingredients. So, you know, on that front, we're comfortable that the regulators will get this right. But it's certainly a challenge and a concern. Now, if you look at this federally, the best thing that could happen would be for the FDA to step forward and create a regulatory framework that we all could plot our path forward around, right? And that hasn't happened. So they've punted to Congress and then said that, you know, we're not able to really properly regulate this stuff. And a lot of their focus is around CBD because that's the one that's, you know, so prevalent. But, you know, and we don't know how that's going to play out. But if you could just put forth some regulatory clarity, some sort of framework that we all could build our businesses around, the floodgates would open. Big CPG companies who, you know, kind of are very risk averse, right? They're sitting on the sidelines waiting for us to all this to play out. They're very interested in getting involved. They want to get involved, right? They see the value of these molecules, but they can't because they just can't plot their path forward in a pragmatic, responsible way. So that would be the best thing that could happen, right? Then there's, of course, you know, federal cannabis regulation, which, you know, it's a whole other, you know, conversation, a whole other, you know, beast. But certainly that would help the business as well.
Yeah, that last point is the one that's the most interesting for me, especially because, yeah, there are companies and individuals, investors that are on the sidelines saying, hey, love this technology, love what it can do, but we've got the blocker called the federal government, the state government, and all the, you know, laws and bylaws we have to go through. But, you know, we've talked about a lot of things. I know you've got some things in the pipeline, phase 2, some in preclinical. But is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, any topics you wanted to discuss that I didn't get a chance to ask you? The floor is yours to talk to our viewers.
No, I mean, I'd kind of ask you a question, actually, if you don't mind, right?
Please.
I mean, we closed yesterday, I think at, you know, $1.56 a share thereabouts, right? So our market cap is, you know, somewhere in the $5 million range, right? We've got $11.5 million in the bank to continue to build value around, not to mention, you know, the 46% growth that you mentioned last quarter. I mean, what is your perspective on a stock like that? I mean, from where I sit, it's a no-brainer, but I'd love to hear your perspective.
Yeah. So for me, and again, just so, you know, for the folks at home, just so, you know, you have laws and things like that, I've got to go ahead and talk about mine as well. You know, for me, this is my personal opinion, not Benzinga's or anything like that. The biggest thing for me when it comes to companies such as yours who have things, you know, I believe you say you have something in phase 2 and you've got the glaucoma thing in preclinical as well. And you mentioned some other thing that was early on stages. For me, the biggest thing is kind of looking at the competitors and seeing, hey, where are they in this type of space, in these type of studies, trying to solve these type of problems? And I'd be lying if I've said I've done the due diligence in the competitors and things like that. But as always, it's always about risk management, right? So something that I would look at, and the folks at home can look at it, maybe you can comment, is in terms of what your financials look like, right? So it's like, hey, are you going to have a secondary offering or anything like that to protect what you may be trying to do in the future and what you're going to do with that money and things like that? You mentioned something about how you were already kind of self-funded a little bit, right, with your parent company and things like that. So that's definitely good to hear. So for me, it's one of those things where it's a good company to start their search on, right? And then kind of see what you guys are doing, where you're going. The fact that you have a parent company and then look at the laws and the states that you're in, that would definitely make me feel a little bit more comfortable. And those are the parameters and the outlines that I would go about in terms of researching what InMed is and what it's going to do in the future as well. The 46% quarter over quarter, that's absolutely impressive. No question about it. But it's like, cool, I don't get paid for what happened in the past. I get paid for what's going to happen in the future, right? So that's where I would try to create a projection based on where it's going to go. And of course, risk capital, right? I mean, this isn't like a blue chip, so it's tough to kind of put it in your 401k, but I definitely think it's something that's worth for the viewers at home to do their own due diligence based on the answers you've given here today to see what's best for their portfolio.
Yeah, appreciate this, Sinead.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jerry. And that is Jerry Griffin, who's the Vice President of Sales and Pharmaceuticals at InMed Pharmaceuticals.
Yeah, thanks for the time, Sinead.
Take care. All right, chat. Appreciate you guys hanging out with us on this lovely Friday. You had live trading in the beginning, and then, of course, we are now finished with All Access. We will see you next Monday for some more live trading. All Access ends now.